Well, we continue our coverage of the Martin family mystery. The disappearance of that Oregon family more than 60 years ago still remains unsolved, but reinvigorated after a major recovery effort on the Columbia River this year.
Now, Coin 6's Jeff Gianola was there when the Hood River Sheriff's Office pulled pieces of a car believed to belong to the Martin family near Cascade Locks. The car has not been conclusively matched to the Martins, although officials do say it is likely. The family disappeared while out for a drive in 1958, and for decades, Jeff Gianola has pored over the case for any clues that could indicate just what happened. That's why when a diver scoured the Columbia River and found what could be the car, he got in touch. And joining us now is diver Archer Mayo to talk about his process and his special performance, capturing his journey to find the Martins. Archer, thank you for being here.
So happy to be here. Thanks for covering this.
It is so fascinating, endlessly fascinating, because there's still so many things to discover here, and so much has been discovered because of your work. It's great to talk to you about it. Why focus on this case to the degree that you have? Because you've been looking at this for years.
It's a really good question, Travis. I mean, honestly, I don't know. It's exactly the same shape as I am, apparently, like with all the interest in the history and diving and creating, I had to create some machines and dredges and stuff. It just exactly fit. I'm not sure I'll ever find something quite as good as this, but it just, for 7 years, it was a wild ride, and it culminated with this, with discovering the actual car, knowing where to dig and digging it up 7 feet under the river bottom.
Yeah. Well, so how did you get involved in this type of diving? River diving, this kind of rescue and recovery stuff.
Yeah. I've been a diver my whole life, but once I kind of saw the Columbia differently at one point and realized that people lived here for 15,000 years, and the river is really unexplored. And so when sonar came out, I started doing that, and then that lets me know where to dive, basically, because you can't see much. I mean, 5 or 6 feet maximum, best time of year.
Wow.
Right? So it's not an easy place to dive, a lot of current. But fortunately, technology just kind of came along right when I did, and I was able to dive deeper, so to speak.
Well, and we're going to have an interesting way to learn more about your experience with this through a one-man show that you're doing. When I think of a one-man show, I don't necessarily think of a story associated to it with this. What is your one-man show?
Right. Well, so 7 years. It's a long time. Big things happen. Big good things, big bad things, and it culminates with this. So this is really the emotional arc of what it's like to really wrap your life around something, something dangerous and difficult and gratifying and ultimately successful. As opposed to a book, and we're working on a book with Ian Costello, a journalist that you might know, and that book is going to be like the intellectual and all the clues and how it all comes together with society and history and interesting facts. This is more of the emotional journey. It's an hour long. It's 6 scenes. I've got a great director, Christine McHugh from Santa Fe, flying in just for this. And it's got music, and it's me kind of taking people through in a dramatic way what it's been like for all these years.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it is, and it's really cool to get to kind of pull the curtain back on some of the investigative efforts that we don't always get to see in these stories. You know, to understand the work that went into even just narrowing down where we think this car might be.
Right, and just the doubt. I mean, doing something for so long, the doubt of, am I ever going to, I can know where it is maybe, but can I actually find it to prove it, right? So this will be done live in a theater in Hood River at the Columbia Center for the Arts. And so there's tickets available for that, but there's also live stream tickets. So at columbiaarts.org, people can get it for $10, a live stream ticket. And that's good for Wednesdays when the show is. It'll be up for probably 24 or 48 hours after that, so they're not constrained.
Yeah, I love that.
But it's a great intro. It's a great intro to this mystery, to who I am and how I work and who the Martins were, because we're also interested in making sure this really reaches its finale, and I don't think it's done yet.
Yeah, and that is the next question I wanted to ask you, because there are still pieces of the car, in fact, a big piece of the car is still at the bottom of the river. They're in the Columbia. What is the next step in this investigation? And recap what was pulled out of the river earlier this year.
Right, so remember, I found the top part of the car 7 feet under the ground, 50 feet under the surface. So it's under a lot of debris. And so the car is actually in the bottom of the river. And that has been so long, so much pressure that it's going to take some special kind of interventions. And it's going to be a slow process. The police no longer can officially work on it because of the public funding and it's an expensive thing. But I've met with the sheriff, met with the Port Authority there, and we have a plan for slowly working this summer, hopefully. And hopefully by fall, getting more of the car. We all want to resolve this. We all want to see this heal in the collective and the family get what they need closure.
Well, and I know this is not the first type of case like this that you've worked on. I'm just curious for you, what does that feel like to make a discovery and to feel like, hey, I can actually give people some answers and some real healing here? What does that do for you?
Yeah, it's really, and this is what the show's really about, because I thought it was my mystery until I actually found the car, and then I realized this is about these people who were lost, and it really switched, and so it's a very complicated thing, but it's super gratifying, and the river is this endlessly interesting place. It really is. It's got moods. It's tempestuous. You got to ask its permission sometimes. You have to know what you're getting into at any point, because death is available at any time, and that's part of the show also is how that has gone.
Fascinating. So fascinating. And again, I highly recommend that you watch all of the coverage that our Jeff Gianola did with Archer there. You can find all of that on coin.com. It is just absolutely riveting, and the story is not done.
It's not done. That's so important. There's still a lot more, and there's still a lot more to look forward to. So,
of course.
And if anybody's interested in helping with this bringing it up, it's going to cost. I've been doing it volunteer for 7 years, but if somebody out there, we think $20,000 to $30,000 of tools, materials, things to actually get this up, because it's really archaeology at this point. To carefully do that in conjunction with authorities. So if somebody's interested, they can go to martinmystery.com, which is actually the repository of a lot of this case. And then at the bottom, there's a contact me, and I would love to talk to somebody if they think they could help.
No, that's
really
great.
Cool.
Yeah.
We're going to continue to follow it. We'll be checking in on any future recovery efforts for this car. And of course, if you want to learn more about Archer's story, you can check out his show. It's happening April 16th at the Columbia Center for Art.
Diving Deep is the name of it.
Diving Deep is the name. Half the proceeds support the Gorge Rebuild It Center. And of course, if you want to help with that ongoing recovery work for the car, find more at martinfamilymystery.com. You can also find all of Jeff Gianola's extensive reporting on the Martin family disappearance, including that detailed recreation of Archer's dive on coin.com.
Archer, appreciate the time.
Oh my gosh.
Great
so
stuff.
good.
Yeah, really do appreciate
Thanks
it.
for being here.
8:16 now, and this week is National Library Appreciation